Good afternoon, Delta 4. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Hollis, and I'm joined by Lieutenant Colonel McCandless. And today what we're going to do is we're going to follow through with a series on our Delta 4 values. Now today we're going to discuss critical thinking. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of what critical thinking means to me, and I'm going to have a discussion with JMAC, and we're going to provide some more fidelity on the topic. So, critical thinking, first of all, we all think critically in our daily lives, the things that we do. But when it comes to those important decisions or the decisions that have a huge impact, we have to really be more, there has to be a real approach, if you will, to addressing those situations. And for me, it really hits on two things. First of all, what is critical thinking? For me, it's thinking deliberately and objectively with the intent of coming up with a decision or coming up with a position. Now, the two things that I think of when I approach critical thinking, first of all, is the timeline. So the timeline that I have will help determine the level of analysis that I have or that I put forth to come up with my decision or to work through the problem. Now, that's going to be really focused on the depth. It's going to be focused on the number of sources that I have to analyze, the types of information. Sometimes it's just, a series of emails, one or two or three emails, or it could be, a number of individuals that I have to, to have a discussion with to pull that information in about the situation that I'm having to come up with a decision on or a position on. The next piece is, and this is one of the most important pieces, I believe, it is addressing biases. Now, there's two pieces to that. The first piece is identifying bias in the information that I'm receiving. So looking for that that connotative language, those agendas of the individuals that are presenting the information to me that may want to sway me towards one decision or one direction or the other. The other piece I look for under biases is my own biases or my own bias. So those are those learned experiences that might not have anything to do with the situation, but I have to be very deliberate about filtering out. So timing and bias is very important for me when it comes to my critical decision-making process. Jim-Mac, what do you think about critical decision-making?
So I think the factors you mentioned are important. I also look at the impact as an important factor. And if you think about it from a military context, what's the impact to the unit, to the member, to the mission? And then if you look at it from a personal standpoint, if you're buying shoes or picking out a new car or any of those kind of things, or making a decision on a house, what are the impacts to your family, to your goals and hopes and dreams and all those kind of things? So impact is really a factor in, what kind of decision do I want to make, how much detail do I need, and all those kind of things. So that's really how I look at it.
All right, so here's a question. What do you use to kind of develop your own critical decision-making process? What are the things you use to kind of, sharpen that knife of critical decision-making?
I think one of the most important things you can do is read more books, watch TED Talks, listen to podcasts. Really, it's about seeking out more information so you can make a better, more informed decision. Another key part of that is invite as many people as possible into the decision-making process and the thinking process, because you'll get different viewpoints, different experiences, and have an opportunity to maybe go in a direction you didn't even know was the best option. And so I've seen as a squadron officer school instructor where a group of captains come together and the group of them end up with the best possible decision that they could make because they had relied on their peers to help them shape the decision.
All right, that's a good point. So as we go forward with the opportunities that are presented through the stand-up of Space Force and the stand-up of our Delta, we're going to be relying on everyone to have, provide their input. And we want that input to come from a solid foundation of critical thinking. So again, thanks for chiming in, and have a good rest of the day. Del 4 signing out.